The British Columbia Institute of Technology acknowledges that our campuses are located on the unceded traditional territories of the Coast Salish nations of Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh.
From the Broadcast Center at BCIT's Burnaby Campus, this is All Talk Radio. You're listening to 1680 The Crow.
Hello, my name is Joseph Augusti, and this is your 10 o'clock newscast. Thanks for tuning in. British Prime Minister Rishi Sunak says he was shocked and sad to learn that King Charles III has cancer.
Thankfully, this has been caught early, and now everyone will be wishing him that he gets the treatment that he needs and makes a full recovery.
The King will begin outpatient treatment according to Buckingham Palace. The cancer was found during recent treatment for an enlarged prostate. The cancer is not related to this condition. The King has suspended all public engagements, but will continue with state business, he said as his youngest son, Prince Harry, flew in from California to visit his father. A spokesperson for mosques and Islamic associations that called for former post-secondary education minister Selena Robinson to be removed from her post says they approve of her decision to step down. Bilal Chima says Robinson is welcome to meet with members of the community to discuss the harm that her comments have caused. Robinson has been under heavy pressure for days after saying that Israel was founded on a crappy piece of land, quote, leading to an outcry from pro-Palestinian groups and others. Robinson repeatedly apologized, but Premier David Eby said her remarks were incompatible with her remaining in cabinet, although she will stay in the NDP caucus. Black History Month is a time to honor the contributions and legacies of Black people in Canada, but one mental health professional says the pressure for Black youth to show awareness during this time can be stressful. Our reporter Caitlin Ng has a story.
Registered clinical counselor Tricia K. Williams, who works with Black youth and students, says expectations in addition to day-to-day challenges can be stressful for them.
There's the pressure of, showing up as Black during Black History Month, which a lot of people are like, it's just me all year round. Just treat me the same. Sometimes the pressure of, doing the most as well.
Williams says one way to support youth mental health is having a space on campus or in the community where Black youth don't feel a sense of pressure to be a specific way. Caitlin O, BCIT's The Crow.
The Year of the Dragon was celebrated at UBC last weekend. The Crow's Anthony Atanesov has more on how a market helped express and connect students with their culture.
The Lunar New Year Market was at the UBC Botanical Garden last weekend. Involving a diverse range of artists, cooks, and storytellers, the market was a way of expressing Chinese culture. Organizer Ariel Yu says that for such a large international Asian population, the students have nowhere nearby to celebrate an important part of their culture.
BC has a giant national family population, so being able to celebrate with friends and actually being the one to set it up, organize it, and look up more into the traditions and why we do things.
For international student Nick New, it was a chance to celebrate his culture away from home.
Celebrate my traditional festival in another country it's a pretty amazing one.
There will be one more Lunar New Year inspired event at UBC's The Nest on February 8th. This is Anthony Atanesov with BCIT's The Crow.
Over the next few days, soccer fans on Vancouver Island will be able to call the Vancouver Whitecaps their very own. Our reporter Sonia Kutenbrauer has more on the club's recent announcement.
The Vancouver Whitecaps will be embracing a change of scenery with a temporary name change, the club announced Monday morning. For the next 3 days, the club will unofficially be called the Vancouver Island Whitecaps. The Caps are scheduled to take on the Mexican side Tigres at the Starlight Stadium in Langford, BC. The Wednesday matchup will be the club's first game of the 2024 CONCACAF Champions Cup, and fans in attendance will be able to purchase exclusive Vancouver Islands Whitecaps merch. In a December press release, it was announced the club would be playing in the Victoria community, as a scheduling conflict prevented them from playing at BC Place. The powerhouse Tigres club will later take on the Whitecaps for a second time this month, playing in Mexico on Wednesday, February 14th. This matchup marks the third time the two teams have met in the Champions Cup. Sonia Kutenbrauer, BCIT's The Crow.
Conservation officers in Maple Ridge laid charges in an investigation into wildlife meat trafficking. Reporter Isaac Newson has more on the charges and the impact on wildlife.
On Friday, February 2nd, police charged a man in Maple Ridge after an investigation into wildlife trafficking. The investigation started with an anonymous tip from the public and the officers say the alleged offense.
And that was your 10 o'clock newscast for today. Thanks for tuning in. This has been
Stay tuned
Joseph
for
Augusti.
more on BCIT's 1680 The Crow. This is 1680 The Crow, and you're listening to our feature presentation.
Disney has a vision of the world, and they're just gonna keep pushing until the world is accepting of people from all backgrounds.
Welcome back to Behind the Scenes. I'm Lauren Achille.
And I'm Sophie Hansen.
So, what are we going to be talking about?
Well, it's out with the old and in with the new. The company Walt Disney is and has been dominating the entertainment industry for over 100 years.
That's right. So we're going to be diving into what criteria Disney has put into place for diversity, equity, and inclusion when it comes to casting, because there has been some controversy over this. And I mean, all over social media, there are some people who are just amazed and super happy about these new castings, but then there's others that are not so pleased. People all over social media are pushing their opinions, and so today we are going to pick apart what people have been saying, all while trying to get to the bottom of what Disney's actual criteria and intentions are for casting diverse roles. And just so you know, we are going to be saying the term DEI a lot.
Yeah, so basically when we say DEI, it's going to be short for this acronym: diversity, equity, and inclusion. And basically that's the process that is enabling the consumers and staff to feel safe and seen and represented when being involved in Disney.
Cue the music! Oh my god.
We have our heading.
Here we go! The world of Disney is the most magical place ever. Well, I grew up watching Disney, but we only noticed the drastic changes made to their iconic movies over the last few years. As a kid, lots of things would kind of, fly over my head when it came to racist aspects in certain movies. And now when analyzing these movies, there are things that are now coming to light. And to be fair, lots of films, not even by Disney, all shared racist views. And honestly, that's just how it was. These last 25 years are significantly different when it comes to DEI and so much more. So, we have to remember that what is societally normal and accepted now is something that wouldn't be, 60, 70 years ago. So we kind of have to look at this from a modern view and a historical view and kind of not get those mixed up. Now, the two other movies, Peter Pan, aka Peter and Wendy, and The Little Mermaid, have released live action remakes in 2023. So social media has had a heyday in terms of the official content and casting, and the media has been able to express a diverse array of opinions.
How do we get to Neverland?
Fly, of course. Peter Pan was first brought to life in a play by James Matthew Barrie in 1904, and it wasn't until 1953 that it was created into the first of the Peter Pan movies. Wendy, John, Michael, they're all siblings, are visited by Peter Pan, who claims to be from this place called Neverland. Neverland is supposedly a land in which they will never grow up, and of course they all fly to Neverland, because why not?
Hey, honestly, I don't even blame them.
I would do the same thing if I could. As we touched on in the beginning, we can recognize as journalists that terminology and what is or isn't culturally appropriate can change over time. But, oh my goodness, if you look back on the Peter Pan, go watch the movie, you'll notice some of the terminology and names for groups of people wouldn't really be that acceptable today. The voice cast was what you may already be expecting. Almost, entirely Caucasian American men and women, boys and girls. And that's why the research for Peter Pan was really interesting. I wanted to focus on the new live action version now. So Peter and Wendy was released just this year and features a cast from all over the world. Peter is played by Alexander Molyneux. a 16-year-old mixed-race British actor. This was Molyneux's big break. So just because he started working for Disney didn't mean that the public opinion was hidden away. He faced a multitude of conflicting opinions on the fact that the original Peter was Caucasian.
Hold on, just to backpedal for a really quick second, did the voice actor for Peter in the original Peter Pan film ever face any backlash?
Well, no. Not back then for sure. So the main voice actor, his name is Bobby Driscoll. Driscoll actually played a lead part in The Song of the South in 1946, which, if you haven't heard, was a very problematic film. And The Song of the South also plays at a very popular Disney ride, Splash Mountain, which is no longer. Unfortunately, after many years of substance abuse, Driscoll passed away at the age of 31 due to heart failure, but the public has their fair share of criticism. I wanted to mention specifically the portrayal of indigenous communities in Peter Pan was also built around internalized racism. This is absolutely a reflection of the times. The original play, written by J.M. Barrie, even names the indigenous group something that is irrefutably racist. I will let you guys look it up if you're interested. I won't repeat it myself, but in some cases Peter is also referred to as the Great White Father. The 1953 film of Peter Pan now showcases a content warning, highlighting that the topics in the film are depicting characters incorrectly.
Well, that took a turn, and I have to say, after having done so much research, the both of us, on each of these films, we can actually see how dark the themes of most of these Disney movies actually are. You have to tell me what you found.
Oh, absolutely. Do you recognize any of this?
Something about you seems different. I can't quite figure it out.
She got legs, you idiot.
The Little Mermaid that came out recently.
Oh, yes. Oh, my goodness. The controversy over that movie all over social media is crazy.
All right. Well, let's just get into it then.
Okay. Well, let's start from the very beginning.
Love to explore that shore above.
The Little Mermaid was released in 1950 and had primarily white voice actors. So the woman who voiced Ariel was Jodie Benson. Benson is an American voice actress. She also has red hair. Coincidentally, the new movie now, The Little Mermaid 2023, is out with a new Ariel. Her name is very well known, Halle Bailey. She is an African-American actress who plays Ariel. Now, there was and still is a lot of controversy over this casting. Some fans were really proud, really happy, and pleased about this change, and others not so much. Why have a black Ariel? Isn't she white in the cartoon? This is a common question among Disney fans that have been posted all over TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter. If you go take a look on Disney's Instagram account, there's a post of the new live-action movie of The Little Mermaid being released. And these are some of the comments. They're literally on there. You can go check right now. And they quote, "Can you start making good movies with original stories again, please? It just doesn't hit right." Another one, "I feel nauseous, and who else is super excited for the Taylor Swift playing Tiana?"
Oh my god.
Yeah. All of these types of comments flooded this Disney post. People weren't happy about this, really. And the decision to cast Ariel as a black woman, people weren't too pleased. But despite this, Disney keeps pushing this envelope, according to Kenton Lowe.
Yay, Kenton.
So we were able to sit down with Kenton, who has worked in many different aspects of Disney from 1995 to 1999. He was a vice president of international development, Imagineering, to vice president of marketing and consumer sales, Interactive Education Publishing. He's also the current dean of business and media here at BCIT to talk more about DEI.
So I got the job at the Walt Disney Company by chance. A gentleman called me and said, "Hey, we got a position at the Walt Disney Company. Would you be interested in exploring it?"
We discussed the overarching themes of DEI in Disney films.
It's a very difficult process to create new intellectual property that's going to knock it out of the ballpark. And so there's there's an approach where you've already got a proven property and say, let's do a variation of it. Let's do a live action version of it and see if that will fly. Probably things that related to like DEI back in the days when I was there. There might have been a little bit more caution. But even when I was there, Disney pushed the envelope and did things that were controversial. Right now, there's going to be people that say, what? Well, they did that for Little Mermaid live action. They said, Disney, do you recall Disney in the animated movie, Ariel was not black? There's going to be people that will always do that. Society still has those people. I would probably be a lot more aware, because I am now over the years, as I've worked for other companies as well too. I'd be a lot more aware, and it would come into play on decision making. Like we'd be asking ourselves, okay, are we making sure we are cognizant of what we're creating, that we're thinking about like diversity, equity, and inclusion?
So we were able to talk to Nimisha Mukherjee. She is a Canadian film director. She's worked on a plethora of Disney series, 2 including Mech X4 and Gabby Durant. So she gives us her take on DEI within the film production from a director's view. So let's hear what she has to say.
I think from the director's side, I felt like, okay, wow, like Disney is like cracking things open, and like the perspective, the POV is so important, like who is in charge of the POV of the episodes or the movies. I found that the way that they were approaching these stories was really, to me in some ways, I don't think it's going too far by saying it's groundbreaking, because this definitely wasn't television that I grew up watching. I think the audience, fuels demand in so many ways. And I think that the conversation has really shifted in the last, even 5 years in terms of the way that there is like a really outspoken, savvy, young demographic that, I think has demanded to see themselves represented on screen. And I think that with the competition that's occurring with social media platforms, and like you have YouTube, people want to see, audiences want, viewers want, especially young viewers want to see themselves reflected. I think whenever there's change, there is going to be backlash and resistance. To me, from what I've witnessed, and just from being, privy on the television side to internal discussions, there's just a real sense of awareness. It comes back to intention and motivations. I think that, this is a new time and a new age.
All right, guys. Disney prides itself over its ability to write, cast, and produce films and TV shows that incorporate diversity, equity, and inclusion. Our favorite acronym of this episode, DEI.
Is Disney succeeding at including DEI in their movies? Are people not accepting this and wanting Disney to cast what they feel is original? People have very different opinions, and it's hard to please everyone. So what do you think? Is Disney doing a good job, or are they trying too hard? We want to know if you're going to watch these new adaptations, and if you have already, tell us about it at behindthescenespodcast.ca.
All right, guys. Again, thank you all for listening to this week's episode. Please, please come back next week when we tune into the dark side of Nickelodeon. More specifically, our favorite, Dan Schneider. Everything hit the fan when stars started coming forward about his problematic and extremely inappropriate behavior.
This is going to be a crazy episode, guys.
Talk to you soon. Bye.
everything is changing to digital. Everything is online. People aren't just waiting for the 6 o'clock news anymore. People want their news right now. They want to be able to go onto their smartphone, onto the internet, and see the news that they want to see.
Vancouver is growing at, a really rapid rate, the Lower Mainland even, and with the tools that we're given here, we're able to cover all of that.
Welcome to BCIT Magazine. I'm Radhika Sikka-King.
In the program, they really leave it up to you. I mean, the help is there when you need it, figuring out how to use the programs like Premiere, Audition, and figuring out how to use the cameras. But it's up to you to sort of experiment and figure out what you can do when you go out in the field.
They brought candles and flowers to remember the student who lost her life yesterday.
Theresa May says the international community condemns Moscow.
They really make sure that you know the basics and you are able to put out a quality product.
I'm Brady Tretnero.
And I'm Radhika Sikka-King. Thank you for tuning in to BCIT Magazine.